Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of RE/MAX Associated Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com.
And with that drum beat, we're going to turn on some happy faces. I'm Kenny, I'm with Steve, and I'm with Jake. We'll get that to a minute. We are American Car Classics. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Hope you're having a beautiful Saturday. If you're listening to us on 101.7 in your cars or at home, if you're not, then you're maybe watching us on Spreaker or Facebook or maybe YouTube, one of those things. It's awesome. I appreciate it all. Anyway, good afternoon, everybody.
How you doing?
How you doing, Steve?
Doing good. Halfway through the week.
Jake Fairchild, you are with Jasper Engines and Transmissions and rear differentials, of course, too.
Yes, sir.
So I'll start off with Jake because he's the oddball in the room that isn't the norm. And we're without Mike today,
Okay.
and we're without Todd today. But Jake, you're going to fill both the chairs, and we're going to get plenty to talk about. Jake, you came in here probably 6 months ago.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. Somewhere in the 8 to 10.
6, 10, 12. The best part was
You'll see how this goes real fast.
Yeah.
When he called, he says, "You're the oddball." It's like, it's so funny to hear him say something's odd.
When they put me in charge, man, they were looking for some new script.
Broke the mold.
I'm going to replace Bob Saget. You watch. So you came in, Jake, and you were Steve and I at Treasure Coast Automotive and Dolphin Autos, our area sales representative for Jasper, and you have, since we saw you last, you've grown.
Yes, I have.
So tell me what you are now as to Jasper.
So I am a sales manager for the state of Florida.
Okay.
When I say state of Florida, I mean from our area, which is Fort Pierce up to southern Georgia.
Okay.
And I have 5 guys that are underneath me. We cover basically that area of Florida. Tampa, St. Pete, Jacksonville, Tallahassee,
Daytona, huge markets.
Ocala.
Yeah.
Very, very big.
Yeah. So that is awesome. Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
I have some things that will pull along further in this. I'm going to give you a second, and I'm going to talk to Steve about a couple of things that went on for the weekend, did all this stuff. And you and we're going to talk to Mike a little bit later, who was at Mecum today. I don't want to give away too much on stuff, but you and I went out there Saturday. I think that was the 6th, and we went with Todd and Mike. We did some cool stuff, Steve. We met up with the head of marketing and media for Mecum Auctions. We met up with a photographer, and they took us around, did a little photo shoot. We gave a little interview style stuff, and I think we're going to be introduced to the world through Mecum magazine in May. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. Can't wait to see these mug shots.
Yeah, we had a good time, though. We had a good time. The weather was beautiful. We stood in line to eat, and then we decided we were going to leave. But we came in. We were there for only about 3 hours. But in that 3 hours, we saw some kind of surprising stuff. We always surprised as what runs through the auction. I mean, some numbers that they bring and some of the stuff that you see when you're at the auction versus what you were just talking about before we went live, that was internet buyers. A whole different thing. And you buy off the internet. And sometimes you get really shocked by what you get.
Yeah. The car, I had the whole dispute with that piece of crap car. You know, I wouldn't even give the guy $15,000 for it, and it sold at Mecum for $47,000 because somebody wet sanded and buffed it. But you can't hide the Bondo in it. I mean, the magnet wouldn't even stick to the right rear quarter panel. And then Todd was over here, was like, "Look at the hole in the roof where they Bondoed it. Look at this. Look at that." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I said the car's rough."
So when a guy
was an internet buyer, it's like,
and so when he buys it on the internet, there's buyer beware. But I mean, there's no arbitration for him.
I don't know how that works. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm
gonna find out because I'm going back out Saturday, and I'm gonna dig into this because I really want to know, because I used to arbitrate at the St. Pete Clearwater Auto Auction, and everybody had an opportunity to kick a car, and these were not cars of this class for quality. So I'm really blown away that there isn't. I think there's got to be something in the middle of that, right?
Because I use the escrow.com, and that's why I use that. So it protects me. and him.
Right.
But, you know, in the long run, look what he tried. You know, the car didn't make it back here for, you know, a month and a half, and the car never left the state of Florida to go back to Texas and went to Fort Lauderdale.
Now, do they inspect the vehicle before that?
No.
Yeah, so they just insure your money going to that.
Yep.
That buyer.
They're like a third party. You know, you put your money in this fund, and then they tell the guy, hey, we have the funds. The funds are there. The funds are available.
Wow.
And then you work out the shipping details.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's seen the videos of the car. It looked great. And then when the car gets here, you know, like my girlfriend calls me and says, hey, you want to come home and look at this car? It's rough.
Wow.
So when she said it was rough, I was like, it's got to be bad for her to say it's rough.
Right. Photoshop.
Photoshops. Like, what do you call that? The orange peel? She's like, it's got that all over. There's runs. And she's like, there's like Bondo you can see in the quarter panels where it weren't finished.
Wow.
And it was like, I honestly didn't think it was the same car just because of like the way it was. But, you know. But someone bought that car at Meekum for $47,000, and I wasn't giving the guy. You know, he's like, "Oh, I'll do 25." I'm like, "I'll do 15. That's the max I'm going."
And that's a lot, $47,000. Not just for any car, but this was a '69 Chevy Camaro. It was a Hugger Orange.
That's what it is. It's the Hugger Orange. The Hugger Orange just goes nuts on these cars.
Wow.
And you were there. I mean, I told the guy, I said, "Hey, the car's only running on 7 cylinders. You drive it down the road, it's bucking, it's jerking." I sprayed the headers with water, and it had 1 cylinder. It was barely even enough to boil the water off. So it's like it's got a dead cylinder.
Sure.
I said, you know, it could be a spark plug, could be a wire. And I said, I don't know, but I'm not buying it this way. And I said, the motor's got a funny noise in it. And you watch the guy when he's trying to drive away. He stalled it like 3 times because the car don't want to go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, we saw this a lot. We saw a lot of cars that we saw a nice Cobra, and the clutch was shot. Now, maybe it's an untrained guy in the back trying to get in, and he smoked it. I don't know. Maybe the guy brought it knowing that in order to change a clutch in a Cobra, you've got to pull the body off the car or something. And there was a reason for bringing a $60,000 car that didn't have a clutch, but the guy had to put it in gear, start it up, and it would take off. And these are hard ones for me to watch as a guy that would like to be able to sell, but I want to sell representing the best I can be. And I've watched Gas Monkey where they go on, they tout about the seller as Gas Monkey. And you know that you're not going to hide stuff on this. You're going to do this right. So when a seller comes in and he's unbeknownst to anybody and he gets away with this, is there a repercussion that you can go ahead, because we bought a car and it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. We bought it for a customer, and so I went and reported it to Meekum so that next year, hopefully, if this guy comes back and they've got a little asterisk next to him that says, "Man, the thing you sold last time was kind of not really what you represented," I would put him on a list of let's send somebody by just to look at it.
See, they might have this thing now. I know, like it used to be Mannheim used to do it, but there's a couple other auctions that are up north that are real big. If you're bidding on a car, you have like a guy there to look at the car. You pay a guy to go look at it and, you know, inspect it and certify it and all that stuff. So this may be a thing at Meekum where if the guy didn't do that, it's an option. Hey, you can do this. Right. And the guy didn't. He may be out that money. But I mean, if that guy paid the $47,500 for that car, he's gonna be mad when that car gets home.
Right. And you know, I think it's state to state is different. You know, they all have different legalities as far as, you know, how you purchase a vehicle, or you got 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks, so on and so forth. But I think in Florida, I think it's just a civil matter. You have to take it to civil court. I don't know if Meekum, Meekum has a big contract that when you buy and a big contract when you sell, and I don't know if somewhere in there somebody isn't stating something that I want to be protected by a fraudulent seller, or that I want to make sure is, you know, that my money is going to be, or that, you know, the car isn't delivered before funds are cleared and stuff, and that's what Meekum gets paid their money for, somewhere in the middle, to be able to do that. And there's got to be some type of mediation there for sure.
That's what I'm figuring, as
big their company.
Yeah, sure
exactly.
And I'm sure they've been through this before. You know, someone bought something on the internet and it doesn't look that good. I mean, look at the Firebird that was in Tennessee. The blue Firebird that pulled mad money, pulled like $55,000. But if you looked at the car on the big screen, it looked phenomenal. Me, Todd Kenny, walking by like, dude, wave both hands really good, because that car, like the ripples in that car was ridiculous. Yeah. And it pulled $55,000. It's like, woo. And like Todd said, the same thing. When someone gets that car home, they're going to be mad. Well, so we watched a car go through today. I did while I was at work. It was live streaming off of Motor Trend today at noon. Must be nice. I have monitors. Look, Steve, I'm sorry that there's no monitor out in your side of the shop, man. Todd, we proved that he doesn't work. I do, man. I've got grease under my... there's grease right there in the corner of my fingernail. That's from carrying a starter. No, it's a 70 Pontiac Gto that was LS'd out. It wasn't mad. It was all black. Kind of like what we looked at with the 65 GTO. The 442, I mean. The old jet. This thing sold today, Steve, $95,000. Wow. Less. But it's a Pontiac. They're less.
Okay, but it's a Pontiac. So here we're saying that the BPOs, it doesn't really matter too much. I think the market is that hot that I don't care. Oldsmobile.
Pontiac and Olds, they have a strong base.
A following of particular people.
Right. And that particular person is what has to buy that car.
Right.
You could do the baddest Oldsmobile, but if it's not to the Oldsmobile guys' likings, they're not going to bid on it. That's the thing. It's a hit or miss. It'll definitely work. It'll definitely sell. But that's the thing. Like, look at the C10s that were there. All the C10s were pulling stupid money. I was trying to bid on an orange one. Me and Todd were looking at it. He's like, that's a nice truck. I'd drive it. Yeah. Me and Todd both said probably 20 to 25. Starting bid was at 30, and I think it went for, and I'm going for 47 or 51.
47, wow. I think it was.
It was like, what did I miss? And it was just a nice truck, It
was lifted, big tires. It looked good,
the paint was probably 8 out of 10. The interior was nice,
7 or 8.
But
I'm not too much into classic cars, but I mean, a lot. But is this the going rate normally? I mean, is this something that, is it just in the last few years?
Just the last 2 years. Yeah. Look, we're going to take a break, but when we come back from that, we'll pick right back up with that. So we're American Car Classics. Give us a couple minutes of commercials and we'll be right back.
All right.
Dolphin Auto, not only are they ASE certified techs, they're also your local friendly U-Haul dealer. Hi, this is Wayne Dillon of Planet Vero and Livestream. Kenny and his crew rescued me from a possible major disaster. My RV was ready for a trip, but needed a major tune-up. I called Kenny and he got it done quickly and efficiently, and I didn't miss my trip at all. Thanks to Kenny and the staff at Dolphin Auto. These guys and girls know what they're doing. Call 321-984-8322.
Everyone wants to do their part in preventing the spread of the coronavirus, and doing your laundry the right way can help. This is Tom Rhodes, owner of Sunshine Laundries, with some helpful laundering tips. Think hot. Hotter is better because viruses hate heat. Wash your clothes in the warmest water setting allowed, and be sure to dry thoroughly in a hot dryer. For more helpful coronavirus fighting tips, visit sunshinelaundries.com.
Euvision Eye Center invites you to visit Dr. Paul Minotti, Dr. David O'Brien, Dr. Stephen Tate, and Dr. Robert Reinauer for customized cataract surgery, laser vision correction, state-of-the-art glaucoma treatment and surgery, retina care, and eyelid surgery, plus general ophthalmology. Euvision Eye Center provides world-class eye care in a patient-friendly environment. 772-257-8700 or visit newvisioneyecenter.com.
Waves Auto Spa, known as Vero's fastest and finest. A car wash known for their quality equipment and attention to detail by a friendly and courteous staff. Waves offers soft cloth technology, and a top-notch detail center will help preserve the value of your car. Waves now offers windshield chip repair, and in most cases, it doesn't cost you a dime. Spend less time and get a better quality experience for you and your car at Waves Auto Spa, US 1 Vero Beach, across from Kmart Plaza. Open 7 days a week.
For keeping your house pest and termite free, as well as your landscape healthy and green, call Compass Pest Control. Hi, this is Brian Combs, co-owner of Compass Pest Control. We are locally owned and operated with over 60 years of experience. We provide personalized, reliable service to all our clients. Call Compass at 772-925-1740 or visit our website, CompassPest.com. That's Compass, PESTS.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Kenny Schofield. This is American Car Classics. This is Steve Charbonneau with me, and with me is Jake Fairchild of Jasper Engines and Transmissions. So, Jake, you are our guest that's back, and we were going to get right back into Meekin, but real quick, I'm going to ask you, tell me something different. This show is full of different because
Kenny.
because of the three guys that I'm stuck here with. No, but tell me something about Jasper give me a crazy warranty story. Give me a crazy something out of left field. Is there something that you've seen that's just ridiculous? Or
we see a lot of stuff. As field reps being out in the field, we go to a lot of shops. It doesn't matter what area you're in. You get someone that wants to piece something together. You get somebody that has a vehicle and they say, that looks great to you. And, you're thinking, wow, they can really repower that unit. It's not worth my time and my energy. I'm just going to go get a new one. With the price of vehicles nowadays, just like the older ones, they're just out there.
Yeah.
Repowering a used vehicle or your vehicle is cheaper nowadays than it is to.
I had a customer come today that bought a 2017 Ford 3/4 ton, set up for a fifth wheel. I mean, the bed had an outlet in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got LED lighting throughout, the step bumpers, the tailgate. You blow a transmission this, you aren't selling that truck. You're buying a transmission.
Yeah.
Your engine blows, you're buying an engine. Well, you had $70,000 for a car, you're not going to.
You get a lot of customization, trucks and vehicles, and people got to, a lot of people put a lot of speakers, different stereos, things like that. They got a lot of money invested into that vehicle that they're not going to get out of a brand new vehicle.
Yeah.
So, why not repower it? It's the best way.
Cars on average are the second largest investment you'll ever make as an individual versus a home. Yeah. Unless you're like us, we own a business.
Well, it is an investment. If you think about it, you got to use the vehicle to go to work. You got to use the vehicle to pick up children, outings, things like that. I mean, it is definitely an investment.
In our field, one of the things that I love so much about Jasper is I keep trying to, when I talk to people about Jasper, it's that you can get something rebuilt. We can rebuild something for you, engine-wise, rear differential. We don't do transmissions. We have local transmission shops.
Sure.
And they can rebuild something for you.
Mm-hmm.
But when we call Jasper, we know already that we're getting the best quality of a rebuilt product that there is. Because as I mentioned earlier before we went on, Jake, you have an R&D department.
Correct.
And you guys go and look for, what did the manufacturer miss? Why did this product fail? Why did the back bearing starve at camshaft for oil? Sure. I mean, this is the overhead valves that are starving, and you guys go in and you fix those portal problems, those flow problems, those lack of flow problems.
Exactly. And I don't mean to correct you, but we remanufacture. We don't rebuild. Okay. There is a big difference between remanufacturing and rebuilding. Right. You gotta explain that a lot in the field. That we see that, and we explain that to a lot of people all the time. Remanufacturing is we're basically stripping down that whole engine, transmission, differential. We're putting a set of standard new parts inside that unit. Yeah. So a rebuilt is they're going to use other parts and pieces to rebuild it. We're not doing that. We're remanufacturing it to that state. Yeah. So, we do a lot of the updates. That the manufacturer messed up to begin with. And we're seeing a lot more of that now between, I think, 2012 to 2018. I mean, you're seeing a lot of manufacturing issues.
How do you learn about updates? How do you learn about what the manufacturer missed?
So in our R&D department, anytime we see something that's a commodity, let's use, for example, the 3.5 EcoBoost. That is a very hot commodity. We see a lot of those failures due to adjustment of coolant. It ingests coolant into the turbos because the manufacturer cut the studs too small that it bolts to. It tweaks the tube and ingests the coolant into the turbo, and it wipes the bearing out.
Beach.
So what we do is we actually made the studs longer, put a different type of O-ring on it, and that corrected the problem. So are you going to get that from Ford? No, you're going to get the same exact product that you got from day one.
And I'll tell you what we see in our shop the most lately, we just did the 3.5 EcoBoost. We had to put cams in it.
That's another one. Yeah.
Man, if you own a Chrysler,
oh yeah,
Travis can do the Chryslers pretty much blindfolded. He's probably done, I'd say 10 in the last 5 months of just putting cams in them because they're wiped out.
But what's preventing them from wiping back out again?
A lot of times is people don't use the proper oil. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. If your car requires Dexos, if your car requires synthetic, there's a reason why. Most times we see these when they come in, the roller bearings and the rockers have gone out.
So in that 3.5 or the 3.6 Pentastar engine that you're referring to, correct? Yeah, that's the it's a cam follower unit. So it's all one. It's a bearing inside a bearing essentially. High tempered bearings using a different type of tempered bearing corrects that problem, and scheduled maintenance is big.
Yeah. How do you warranty that, Steve? I mean, if the person came in being, I'm not going to call them, dumb, but they were not informed properly, or they were not, you hope that how are you going to say it comes back in 8 months, 10 months? We're not quite out of warranty, but that it's done this again.
We just tell them, why, what we think is why it failed and what for, and we just tell people, hey, to get the, warranty, you have to maintain it and do this and that, Look at that Jeep that Andrew had a few weeks ago. The camshafts welded to the heads and snapped.
Yeah.
It's like, and look at the oil change sticker. It's 20, I think he said 29,000 miles overdue or something like that. No, I think it was 59,000 miles. He said the thing hasn't had an oil change in like 4 or 5 years.
A lot of things that you see, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, cars had different tolerances. Now they're pretty much zero tolerance. So that small amount of time for that oil change makes a huge difference. 500 to 1,000 miles over on an oil change, you're doing damage to the engine. Yeah,
we had a 2015 Mark LT come in, 313,000 miles on it. The flex plate had broken. The torque converter has studs, and so that it was still able to turn, because when they were driving down the interstate and it broke, the torque converter welded itself to the back of the crankshaft.
It got hot.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything?
Actually, one of my reps actually, he had an issue with the shop just recently where he had a torque converter that welded itself to the back of an engine. And
incredible.
It was 3-day process for the shop to take that out. How do you charge a customer for something like that?
And we called the customer. We let him take a 4.5-foot pry bar, Jake, and we let him try to bust that thing out of there. Yeah. And when he failed, we asked him to stand back with his non-OSHA approved flip flops, and we took 2 giant pickle forks, jammed him in there as hard as we could using the broken flex plate on that side and the torque converter to pull it away, and then the pry bar on the bottom. We finally got it to pop off, and it hit the ground like a ton of lead. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
So we went in, we deburred the edge, we used some anti-seize, hoping that anything sticks again to it, and got a new torque converter. And we believed that the flex plate failed twice in 6 months because the torque converter went bad and was just locked up.
Well, this actually brings me to my next point is, older style engines, they also had, they ran a lot cooler. Nowadays, these engines run really hot.
Yeah.
Extremely hot.
That tolerance of acceptability threshold is...
Right. Yeah. And you got to have the parts to back it up for that high temp.
I'm sure you've seen this, and I've stressed this numerous times, and I've said this to Kenny, and I've said this to Todd and customers: the right weight oil.
Correct.
You see these cars come in 0 to over 20.
Oh gosh.
Nah, I want 530. No, you can't. And I try to explain to people. You draw a little picture and be like, hey, the oil is too thick to get through this fast, and if it doesn't get to it, you're going to burn up lifters. You'll the roller bearings inside stuff, you're going to burn it out. And then, we see that a lot too.
To the consumer, they have they really don't know the difference between 0-20 and 10-40. No. It's like molasses and water.
Right.
It really, truly is. But if you put that in front of someone, it's mind-blowing. Yeah.
Back in the day, though, Steve, we would take one of these small blocks, whatever, and it came with 10W40, and we had no problem putting a 2050 in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Or even a 1030 if you thought that you needed a little bit more up fast, We had no problem changing that kind of, but here
straight 30 weight.
The tolerance was so much more accommodating.
Yeah, forgiving. Sure.
Yeah.
What you talking about? I remember cars that had slight little rod knocks and wrist pins. Nitro 70, baby.
Yeah, true.
Nitro 70 to the rescue.
But you couldn't do it, and now if you put some STP. Stop your engine from knocking treatment in there, the molasses, you're going to burn something up faster than you ever thought.
Yeah.
It's just going to go because
they're more sophisticated nowadays.
And now, you pull the camshafts off some of these new cars, there's no bearings. It rolls on.
That's right.
And, you just see the little passages, so you have to have a thinner oil.
Right.
But as you were saying, these cars run so hot now these days to reduce the emissions and the NOx and all that stuff, the oil breaks down fast.
Right.
So, even if you're using a synthetic and it says change it at 7,000 miles.
Right.
Change it.
All right. We're going to jump into a news break. We're all going to take a drink of water, and we'll come back in just a couple minutes. Please, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to finish this up with Jake and Steve. We're the American Car Classics radio program.
All right.